Cars, clothes, girls, and games. Through the years, a lot of things change. We shared a love like a melody. My sweetest moments are when you're here with me. Yeah. Gave me all love. Giving you trust in me. Oh, yeah. In my life. Every moment is so sweet. Every moment is so sweet to me, baby. When you lay next to me. When you lay next to me. Our hearts beating as one. Our hearts beating as one. Nothing we can do. Loving you, so much fun. Every time I look at you, your smile lets me know you feel me too. Anything you wanna be, I can deal with because you're right here next to me, yeah. Giving you, trusting me, to be trusting me in my life, every moment is so sweet. Every moment is so sweet to me. When you lay next to me. When you next to me. Our hearts beating as one. Our beating as one. Nothing we can do. The sun, the moon, the stars. He can't compare to you and me. Yeah. My everything. And I can't explain. And I can't complain. You never had a rain. The wind, the rain, the sea. Just can't move like you and me, baby. Oh no. When you feel the breeze. When you laying next to me, baby. Chills come constantly. Every moment is always you need, baby. When you lay next to me. My heart feel like yours. Our hearts beating as one. Nothing we can never come, no. Nothing we can do. And you know, every moment when I'm right here next to you, I feel so glad. Nothing that we can overcome. Girl, you can get it anytime you want it. I'm in love, waiting for you.
Top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on. Okay, that's up. Let me break this down a little bit. We are live. Hello, everybody. I am back. My modem has been down for 4 days, where really was a cable issue. My internet is officially back up now since yesterday evening. So the first song was played for where my ladies at. We usually do music momentum Monday. I did not feel like going live from a hotspot, pulling on the data usage, pulling on the energy that way. Um, and paying for extra gigs using a hotspot. So I'm here tonight live. That's why I missed Sunday too. Hey, excuse me. Hey, Amp, how are you? So it's a host of things going on in the world. We're never short on. Excuse me, you all. It's never a shortage of interesting things transpiring in the world. The next Democratic national debate to vet the candidates is actually in the state of Michigan, is in Detroit. It's going to be in Detroit the end of this month. That should be interesting. The NAACP, they've been hosting stuff all week. So you've had a host of candidates who are running and who have seats here in the state of Michigan. And that's been pretty interesting. Something else important to note that you may not see on the news trending. Um, a chase ship was seized and it was tons of cocaine found on it. Chase Bank ship seized, tons of cocaine found on it, said to be in the billions worth of cocaine. So, for people who wondered how drugs made its way into communities and merged its way into urban areas, part of the answer. We know the other part was the US government back in the day. Big money people, billionaires, trillionaires. Yeah. So that's something that should be trending that's not trending. Another thing, Eric Garner mother, understand this: no justice, no peace. It's going to be protest after protest. And they're taking it to police stations, they're taking it to courthouses, wherever they need to take it to say the police officer who's responsible for killing Eric Garner after he repetitively said 11 times he could not breathe. Under no uncertain terms, do they still want him on the police force? I don't want him on the police force. So the turn up will continue to progress until that officer is fired. It was an illegal chokehold used. So my thing is, at what point do we stop playing games and call it what it is, premeditated murder, especially from a cop's perspective, because they're trained. You got to do better training than that. Oh, no, 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 Amp. Hey, John Q, how you doing? Absolutely no word on that. Why would they say? Well, let me backtrack a little bit. The U.S. Attorney General, who is it in there now? Barr? Yes. Actually, he had his hands in the pot, stirring it. So you don't get the justice you need regarding that from this administration. That's one of the things. Let us not forget Sandra Bland. Uh, she still, although be it dead, she still needs justice. Let us not forget next month, as we well know, Kanika Jenkins is coming up. Yes, her case is going to trial and it will be litigated. However, there's some information that we do not have privy to because the attorneys are not going to relinquish it until that time. And if you're not an attorney working on the case, you don't have that information. You don't have the answers back from the detectives that they question, security company, kitchen, or anyone else. The attorneys have that information. So when it finally goes to trial, you are going to see a host of information that was not revealed before come to light. And I await that day. Me being myself, yes, I called the attorney's office trying to inquire on information. I knew in advance they were not going to give it to me because that's illegal. However, being the person that I am, I called anyway, only to get no information. But I called anyway because that's just me. I'm going to at least try. I knew I was getting nothing because it's illegal, but I was still going to call. Oh, mm, amp drugs coming in from everywhere. So they can't just say from the southern border. And I want to go back here real quick because I don't know if anybody's paying attention to what's going on in the continent of Africa like I am. Uh, in our group or in the group of people who may stream this, and a lot of people do pay attention to what's going on globally. Now, I have to say this again. This administration has made it difficult for Africans to get into the USA. So they're back to square one in terms of being able to come in here. To me, the group was targeted out. The stacks are not 100% factual. And we know how people like to fat finger information for it to be non factual, for it to project lies and be downright deceitful and untruthful. Okay, so their justification on making Africans who have visas go back through that process all over again, that means they have to go through the interviews again, even though they have visas. They have to go through the entire process again. It does not matter. Even if they're in good standing, it does not matter. They have to go through the entire process again. It's mighty funny to me, and I'm going to get back on point, that I don't see um, anybody from England being targeted out and have going through the process that the Africans are going through. I don't see anybody with Australian passports going through the same process that was specifically put on people from the continent of Africa. I don't see people from other regions. And let me make this very clear. Is Russia, are Russians going through that same process that the Africans are going through right now? Because the last time I checked, and Comey will be on tomorrow on Capitol Hill giving testimony under oath, which I will be watching to hear what he says. It's mighty funny that during the lengthy investigation, which involves computer forensics and other type of forensics, but being the most important in this one was computer forensics, digital forensics, that it was the Russians who hacked the US systems, targeting Black people in America and targeting our election process. It was not the Africans. So I want to know, how come the Russians are not going through a process to get into the United States? And it's like a deflection is going on. You want to make the Africans go through uh, this process all over again, the process that many of them who have visas in good standing already went through, and their visas are still valid. They have to go through this all over again. And the reason is because you say they abuse their privileges when they get over here in the United States of America. Excuse me, they're not the only group, if the record would show and the research was accurate, who I would deem abuse privileges here in the USA. Now, I got to tell it like it is tonight. Hi, Brenda. How are you? So that's something I've been paying attention to. The continent of Africa has been turned up, and if you see different faces over here and different names, do not be alarmed. Um, just look for a bunch of African people who won't be trolls to start frequenting the chat more often. Just look for that in the future, and you'll know because they're the way they write words may be a bit different, but the language over there is English too. They know English too. So I just thought that to be interesting. I didn't do my happy news, which I should have started off with first, and that is something else that should have went viral is the man that what was it, 18 to 19 stories high, black man, black American male, apartment complex was on fire. His mother was up there. He climbed 18 to 19 feet stories to rescue his mother and got her down to safety with the building on fire. Brother man went up there and got his mom. That's the type of stuff that needs to go viral. Now, Detroit is Detroit. It didn't happen in Detroit, but I have to also go to the negative news. And that's why I say when you come to Michigan, in certain parts, you need to be careful. Uh, a guy got into an accident, young guy got into an accident. Detroit hit somebody, and you got to be real careful where you at in Detroit. Hit somebody, and unfortunately, yet again, he got snatched out the car. I think he's probably dead now. Yeah, they beat him down. See, uh, yeah, it was black guys because usually you certain places in Detroit, you bump into somebody car that could be it for you. Not to scare. It's not like that all the time. You run over somebody and people from the area come out, which are used. It could be that could be your life. So you need to be kind of careful everywhere. I'm gonna say, but Michigan at its finest. Now let me get back to some other good news. Now that I've given that negative news in the state of Michigan, in Saginaw, Michigan, in Sag Nasty. No disrespect to you if you're from Saginaw. You know what we call it here. We've been calling that forever, Sag Nasty. Sag Nasty, the priests are finally being held accountable for raping all of those males. They are finally having their day in courts. They have all been banned from priesthood and being priest within the Catholic churches. So the ones that are still living will be tried, and rightly so, because that's just downright nasty. That's nasty. For all them years they set up and slept with all those young boys. That's nasty. And I'm going to say this if you are Catholic. Stop sending your young boys to them priests because they sleeping with these kids. Stop it. Hey Fly, how you doing? And I got to plug real quick for those of you who don't know, Fly designs t-shirts. So if you need a t-shirt design for family reunions, you need t-shirts done, Fly is your go-to person. Now back to the priest and the good news. Finally, like I said, from SAG Nasty, they went and get they went in and they are going to try those priests. They they're going to trial. They're going to court for raping all them boys for all those years. However, some of those priests are dead who were molesting boys in the Catholic Church in the state of Michigan. So they won't be tried on this side. Uh, I don't care how you believe. I know how I believe. I believe they're being tried by a fire right now, an eternal one. But that's just my belief. You can believe what you want to believe. Freedom of belief in religion, quote unquote, in the USA. That's the other good news. So, good news. Man rescued his mama from 19 story apartment complex. Building was on fire. Black man climbed up there, got his mama to safety. He went up there to get his mom right out that building. That's commendable. Should be trending. Should have been trending. Still should be trending. Not trending. Other good news, Catholic priests in Michigan who've been caught finally are going to be held accountable for raping those boys for all those years with their nasty stuff. Yeah. It's something really sick about you, and you got to be some type of sadistic person to sit up there and to sleep with innocent boys, boy after boy after boy after boy after boy. What is wrong with you? And you supposed to be repping your God for the ones who do that. What is your God teaching you? How to rape kids? How to demasculinize a boy? What religion is that? What Christianity is that? What confession of faith is that? That's nasty. And it's demonic and it's diabolical. Come on now. Whew. Right. So other news. Wow. Number 45. Let me go back to him real quick. Basically, some people lied on his behalf. And I don't know that it's going to come out the way it should tomorrow. But somebody on his team put him in a White House when he wasn't there. So I can't wait for those people to be tried. When it came to colluding, aiding and abetting Russia. And hopefully tomorrow, Comey tells it like a TI is, the truth, all of it, withholding nothing. Hopefully he does that, regardless of the threats coming from this present administration. I hope he goes in with the attitude and a mindset that I don't care. The facts are the facts. And these are the facts. And that he won't feel intimidated by anyone or anything. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. And when I have time, I'll read through the entire report because they said it is so much evidence and information given in there to it is just unbelievable and almost unreal. So I'm gonna have to go get that and read through that. Life has a way of showing you some things. Um, hmm. So I said in the title, I had the wicked of the USA, and we've been talking about some wicked in the USA. Uh, Boys being raped, that's evil. Kids dying at the border. I discussed that. That's evil, diabolical on the United States soil. Um, Let me make it clear for people who may seem to be non-compassionate. You have children who are dying in these camps on American soil in their own feces. And that should be trending every day, all day. I don't stand behind that decision. For kids to be over here, stripped and snatched away from their parents, held in a camp without their parents or without anybody to look after them like they're used to, and be put in a traumatic situation, and then for some to die in their own feces. And for people over here in the United States of America, and I don't care what nationality you are, I don't care if you white, black, pink, purple, or polka dot. You can be striped for all I care. To be non-cavalier and non-caring on issues like that. But oh, life has a way. You keep living. Like my grandmother and the older people used to say, you just keep on living. It's when the tides begin to turn and change. You allow that to happen to somebody else's kid and your hands is involved in that. Life has a way of making sure you get back. May not be in your generation, but that same evil visited your kids or your kids' kids or somebody in your family. Some people call it karma. I call it sowing and reaping. You cannot sow an apple tree and expect oranges. You sow evil, that's what you're going to reap. Life and make sure it comes back to you. Just keep on living. So, America, that's diabolical. That's crazy. Where's the compassion? These kids didn't ask to come here. These kids didn't ask to be here. They're innocent. I don't care how they got here. They're innocent. Hey, Sandra, how you doing? We missed you too. Right. What you say, Ampy, would be refreshing, but you holding your breath. And I need people to understand. Now, it's something very unsettling when you visit slave grounds where our ancestors, if you're Black American, African American, they keep changing the title to fit and suit their need, died. It's something unsettling when you come up on the ground where innocent kids die and there's innocent blood there. You feel a heaviness in that territory. It's something very unsettling. Now, there will forever be, if something does not happen, something very unsettling and a very heavy presence where those kids that are in those detention camps are dying over here in America. Once again, and I said in the title, part of what I got is the wicked of America. We have America doing what it was known to do best, letting innocent people die at their hands. The blood will be on the heads of those who allowed that. You got blood on your head, in your hands. You don't have clean hands. You got the shedding of innocent blood on your hands and on your head. Okay, Vanessa. Oh, okay. Let me, Vanessa, before I answer that. All right. Inhumane, Sandra. Oh, let me pause for a minute. Another happy news moment. Today is your anniversary. Happy anniversary to you, Sandra. Happy anniversary to you. Enjoy your time in Jamaica. Be careful, be safe. We will be praying safe travels for you, traveling grace and mercy while you're living. I know a lot of people pray when people dead. Once a person is dead, there's no need in praying for them. They're not here. So we're going to pray for Sandra for safe travels while she's here, and that you would have a most favorable time. Enjoy yourself with your spouse or with your significant other. Have some fun. Congratulations to you all. Okay, Vanessa, you said when Robert Mueller did the investigation, text Pam to pay him over $6 million for his investigation. Why we never gotten the full report? Redactions were done, as we well know, intentionally, and they always want to say we redacted information to protect a person or to protect an entity. I believe, like some people on Capitol Hill who got sent there to represent the people, believe the full report should have been released unredacted. That's the way I believe. And I'm going to stand by that because we have corruption here in America. That's why we didn't give the full report. Too much corruption from the White House to a street house. Too much corruption. I agree with you 100%, Vanessa. Nobody should be above the law. Nobody. Nobody's above the law. I used to write papers all the time when I first went to college, being 17, 18 years old. And when the topic would come up, I would always say, no one was above the law. The way I would word it is the law was not created for the lawful, but the lawless. And if you're abiding, quote unquote, by the laws. And some never should have been laws here in the United States. So we have to go there too. Like uh, a right to bear arms here in the United States originally started off as a right to bear arms and kill slaves and black people. And later it was amended to mean something else. That never should have been a law. Uh, Black people being considered half human and half animal never should have been a law. It's a lot of things in the United States that never should have been laws. But that's the wicked of America. Mhm. The shedding of innocent blood with justifiable rhetoric that people upheld and believed. Never should have happened. Never will be justifiable. And if I can just go here for a little bit, that's why your voice is powerful. The voice of the people is powerful. And if you can take a person's life, you can take their voice away because they can no longer speak. Life, being alive, is a powerful thing. Using your voice for good, for the defenseless, for those who cannot speak for themselves, is a very powerful thing while you're living. So, we as a people have got to continue to stand up and speak out on the behalf of people. We have to do it because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? Who? When? Where? How? And to what extent will it be done if we don't do it? What legacy are we leaving for the kids coming behind us if we don't do it? If we should hold our peace and stay silent when we know things are wrong, what does that make us? Your voice is a powerful thing on the behalf of innocent people. Your voice is a powerful thing if you use it right. You can use your voice for good, you can use your voice for evil. But remember, the evil you sow comes back on your family. So that's part of the wicked of America. And I have users in the title too, because we see it every day all around. People attempting to use you, thinking they got one over on you. Um, Really, from a perspective, we can look at America as a user of people, exploiting and fleecing people for their gifts, their talents, their intellect. And people never being compensated or receiving acknowledgement to the degree that they should have been acknowledged for the things that they actually contribute to in America. We can see a language in the land of America. It's a language. It's a language. It's a presence here that is bewitching, is what I like to say. Very bewitching when you pull the wool over somebody's eyes, or it's like they have scales on their eyes and they cannot see clearly. Uh, for the people who justify number 45, his behavior, his actions, the way he talked about disabled people, the way he attacks any person, and especially the way that he attacks a female, black female, other females. It's something very bewitching about men or people not standing up to him. It's something very bewitching going on over here in the United States of America. And people still support that. Black people support that. White people support that. And other nationalities still support that foolishness. Not all, but some are still supporting that. You see the support behind them. When did that become okay? And then if you say something that seems a bit challenging, they want to say you wrong, you're off. Now you've become this big bully. When in fact you're no bully, you're just addressing the issue and saying no way, no how, under no uncertain terms. You're saying not today. You tried it, but not today. Um, there is a movement going on, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We're either going to be a part of the movement or we will lay down and do nothing. We either going to be part of the movement or we're going to lay down and do nothing. And I'm always feet on the ground, part of the movement. Laying down and doing nothing is not an option for me. I have a child. I have family. The laws that get passed in the United States at the hands of other people affect everybody over here, as well as other nations. Directly impacts our households. I'll have time to let somebody try to bamboozle or hoodwink me with foolishness and false justifications and faulty information. No. The good thing about it is I came up in an era where it was not illegal for me to read. The good thing is I came up in the era where I was not considered a slave. My ancestors fought for me to be free. The good news is I have a brain I can think. I have a brain I can think. The good news is I believe in being sober minded at all times and paying attention to what's going on. That's the good news. But the great news is it was I was born for such a time as this. And I got too much fight in me to lay down and roll over and play dead while I still have breath in my body and I'm breathing. Okay, Fly, you said you're still looking for the girls missing in Nigeria from that school. We have a host of girls missing over here that go missing every single day. We have a bunch of black girls, teenagers, and lately it's been teenager after teenager in the state of Michigan. Black females, teenagers are still missing in the state of Michigan. So, my pose, what I pose, and I said I would address this in my state of the YouTube address because I do have some things to address to YouTube before August the 1st. One of the things that I want to address is an Amber Alert for YouTube. Okay? excuse me, when we have especially black, anybody missing, but right now I'm gonna say especially black because usually we don't get put on the milk carts and we don't go in the paper so quick. Every single day, we have teenagers, women, kids who are gone missing. Now, YouTube want to be something great. They want to be the great of the great when it comes to developing and designing user interfaces. They can kindly work that into the user interface and make that an option. So we can put an Amber Alert going out on YouTube to make everybody with a YouTube account or everybody with a YouTube who signed up for YouTube aware that that person is missing right then and there. And oh yeah, you can do your little snooze on it. You can put it on your notification. You can do whatever. Make those options available. Why don't we push that? Because a lot of people are not interested in seeing the analytics on how their video did. A lot of people are not interested in that. How many subscribers they have. A lot of people are not interested in that. On them redesigning the user interface, creating more analytics. And keep in mind, I am a very analytical person. So while I appreciate that, I do understand that most users are not interested in that. To me, thing that is more advantageous and beneficial for everybody is to add an Amber Alert feature. So we can know who missing from where, when they missing, right then and there, in almost real time. That would be more advantageous to me. Right, Vanessa, he don't have any integrity. App, and I agree with you. Amber Alert should be like the broadcast, the state of emergency broadcast that they run on your channel when it's a storm coming. Like I said, you have options. If people don't want it all day, let them put it on snooze, but make it part of the user interface so we can know and get the information out before it's too late. And another good piece of news was this: some police officers have finally been fired from their jobs in Louisiana due to a post that they put on social media. About time. We're not putting up with racism. I'm not. Should be no police officer. What is that flying in the back? If you're a racist. They finally got fired. Good call. Even though they have a police union who gonna fight for them. But good call to the sergeant or the person in charge that fired. Good call. Good. Good for you. Hmm. Good for you. Good. You need to be a police officer anyway. It's supposed to be non-biased. Right. Also in the Vatican, A gentleman sent me this article over there in Italy, where at the university, one of the universities in Italy, in the Vatican, they have discovered a whole bunch of bones, and people, family members, are out there trying to see if it's the 15 to 16 or the teenage girls that went missing years ago over there. They're trying to see who they're going to find out because they're going to bring their pathologist in, and they're going to have to research the history of the bones, extract information from there, and find out who all these bones were. Went digging in a bunch of bones, human bones, right there at the universe, hidden. Just went digging and found it. Yeah, I'm all for a YouTube Amber Alert, so we can post missing people. That should be part of the user interface on YouTube. If they really want to do something, from my perspective, that's completely advantageous for everybody, as opposed to the user interface that they have. Yeah, they do. But this was years ago, Fly. Now they just discovering all these bones. You're like, goodness. It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's people crazy. Some ugh, some possessed people out here in the land. We'll say that. But I'm all for a Amber Alert, user interface Amber Alert. I'm all for that. Being part of the user interface. So what else did I have on here? Yeah, users. I talked about the U.S. being a user, the wicked of America. Um, People are constantly still coming up dead that has been visiting the Dominican Republic, and it has been black and white people that are that have continued to show up dead. But like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But when I look at the correlation of information, I'm looking at everybody being American, everybody drinking, dying from a drink that they had over there. And I'm looking at little kids dying over here in their feces that are from the Dominican Republic and other parts of the world. And my perspective is it's retaliation. It's retaliation against the United States in their own way. That's my perspective. That's just my perspective. Yeah, 21 people now fly. Oh, wow. Ah, right. Red hats. Right, right. I seen that, Vanessa. Police officers out with the red hats. I said, thank you. Now you've just identified yourself. You're part of the KKK. You don't have the white sheet on, but you got the white hat on. Thank you so much for identifying who you really are. Now we know. We can look out for those ones. Now we know. Hey, Ellen, how you doing? So with that in mind, I know a few within a week from now, I will be out of town for 10 days. And part of that, I'll be on my cruise to Mexico. So, with that in mind, I'm very cognizant and um, I was informing my daughter, not saying that the Mexicans are going to do anything to us, but I'm not a person who likes alcoholic beverages anyway. I'm not a person who really, when I'm out places, want you to bring me an open drink. I want my drink closed, sealed with a seal that I know I'm just taking off. I don't want you to bring me anything open. I want complete closed drink where I twist the cap off. So I've been talking to her about that. Not like I said, I'm not saying that they're going to do anything to us, but I am admonishing her to be cautious. And I was talking to some other friends who are going on a cruise too. And so we were talking about some things. And my one friend said, well, when I get over there, I'm not eating any. She said, I usually go back to the cruise ship if I want something to eat. I really don't purchase anything. Me, I'm going to purchase something. I like food. I'm going to purchase something. I'm gonna purchase something. It's just going to have to be nothing open. It's going to have to be enclosed. I can't. Um, mm-mm. I'm not that type of person that really likes. I'm very particular when it comes to food anyway. I like food to be a certain way, and I'm not scared. But like I said, if I do eat something, I need to see it cooked. I need to be able to view it. I need to see what's going on. And I'm like that when I go out to eat here. I want to be right there where they're preparing the food. I don't like I don't care for the closed up spaces where you can't see back through. No, I like the kitchen open, kind of open. Go to those restaurants where you can kind of see, kind of open, so I can see what's going on. So I do have that in mind. And like I said, I'm not saying anybody in Mexico are going to do anything to us on this cruise. But I am going to get Mexico's perspective of the USA to date because that's just me. I'm going to ask some of them how they feel about the United States today because I want to know. And then I want to hear some of their stories. Right. Let it be Amber Alerts. Right. Right, Fly. I do. I need to see if it look right. How it was prepared. And, you know, the old school way, where when you eat from somebody's house, you want to see how clean the house is or how clean the kitchen is. If they got cats or something like that running around, if they what type of if they got birds or whatever, and you want to see what's going on in the atmosphere. You know, you want to make sure there's no infestation of insects on the perimeter and different things like that before you eat their food. So it's going to be interesting to hear the different perspectives because everybody is not an enemy of the people over here. I will say that every nation does not hate the people in this nation. As a matter of fact, some of the people still admire Americans and admire America and still deem America as the land of the great, home of the free, because they still trying to get over here and cross the borders to get here. And America is not what it used to be at all. But they're still trying to get over here because in their mind, they see America as this great melting pot and the opportunity for all people. And I'm not saying we don't have opportunities here. There are, but you have to fight for them. We had to fight for them. Our ancestors had to fight for them. It's a fight. So, oh wow, 19 in Costa Rica from alcohol. Alan used to order cakes from a lady until you saw her kitchen. Wow, 19 in Costa Rica. Mm. Oh, Alan. Okay, you lived in one. Okay. Alan, actually, the best food that I ever had at any wedding was a Mexican wedding. The best food that I ever had at any wedding, hands down, was an authentic Mexican wedding from a former coworker, from former coworkers too. They got married. She was 100% Mexican. He was 100% Mexican. Their family members came over from Mexico to the US, and during the reception, when we were at the wedding and then during the reception, they were cooking. Nothing, absolutely nothing was pre-packaged and pre-made, and everything was live and fresh. And as they cooked it, they set it out. And that was some of the best food I had. Hands down, I did not have to use any seasoning. Hands down, that was some of the best food I've ever had at a wedding. Period. Period. Hands down, best food. So, oh, I will be careful. Oh, cool. Cool, Alan. So, someone else was saying something to me. Oh, this other lady was saying, "No, don't go to Mexico." I said, "Lady, I already paid for my cruise. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going. That cruise is paid for." Excuse me. Them plane tickets purchased and that cruise is paid for. I'm getting on that. I love cruising. So Sandra, don't play. Enjoy yourself when you on your cruise. That's when my daughter want to go for her 16th birthday, Jamaica. Um, I'm going, and I let her know I have insurance. I have life insurance and I have travel insurance. I always get the extra travel insurance when I travel, or my daughter and I when we travel together. Um, every time I cruise, I always get the additional insurance. So I am insured. You know, my child's insured, and plus, if something happened, I want the additional insurance that they offer. So, not saying anything is going to happen. Nothing has ever happened, but I just like to be insured up. You know. Yeah, my cousin usually go to Cancun all the time. Sandra, this will be my first time in Mexico. Usually, I'm in the Bahamas. I'm a Bahama born person. I love the Bahamas. All about families. They are, Alan. The ones that I used to work with were all about family. The Mexicans that I used to work with were all about family. Fly, you said that's why I don't eat at nobody house cooking. People be so nasty. You would be surprised. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh right there. Um, I was talking about it this week to somebody how my grandmother, my dad's mother, would have her white gloves. And after you got finished cleaning, one from Louisiana, born and raised up in Louisiana, take that white glove, go across that floor, take the white glove, go across the counter, and she seen a speck of dirt. It was a redo. You had to do it all over again. Uh, if I don't think the dishes look clean to me, I make my daughter rewash them, rewash, rewash. I need to see some shine, some sparkle going on. Rewash. I don't care if I rub my finger across it and it is clean. Rewash. I want to smell. I want to smell a little bit bleach in the dishwater. That's just me. Where I was brought up. Just saying. Oh yeah, authentic Mexican food is it. Oh, okay, Vanessa, you cruise too. Okay, so I got some people. Now I'm veering off topic, but I got some people here who got some passports. Okay, I got some people here who got some passports. Maybe we need to do a cruise. Yes, maybe we need to do a cruise. Maybe we need to vote on doing a cruise in the future. That would be cool. Yeah, Amp. Oh wow, Amp. Good point. Let me hit Alan real quick. Nothing wrong with using bleach on distilled water, even in the tub. Alan, you must be kin to some family that's kin to some family that's kin to some family because my dad, mother made them bathe twice, once in the morning, once at night, every day. And here, my aunt, my dad's from Louisiana, and even in our household here in Michigan, um, always put a little bleach in that bath water. I still do to this day from time to time, and I have my child do it too because it kills all the germs, kills every germ. A full tub of water with a little bit of bleach kills all the germs and it kills every body odor. Okay, your hormones is off and whack. You have strong odor, and this is free 99. This is for free. And as Alan just brought up, a little bleach in that water, simmer that ocean on, take the odor straight away, straight away. Yeah, it does, Alan. It does. It really does. As a matter of fact, one of the doctors, when my sister had broken out with something when we were kids, told my mom to start back putting that bleach in her water, and whatever she broken out with went away right like that. Just went away straight away. Sandra, you saying a meet and greet cruise? No, we gonna have a fun cruise. It's gonna be the Fun Fest cruise, and we can meet each other there. What the name of our cruise had to be the Fun Fest cruise. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can do like a meet and greet day on the cruise. The first day, everybody meet each other and greet each other. But no, this is gonna have to be a fun fest. The fun fest cruise. Oh, that would be fun. A 7 day cruise will be fun. But for those who have to work, we can do a 4 or 5 day cruise. But let me go back to what Amp said, which is key. Life insurance is an important part of planning. Too often people overlook it, and I'm adding words. I'm not reading verbatim here. Everyone, if you can afford it, buy life insurance. Thank you so much, Amp. Now, um, I'm not a life insurance seller. Amp isn't either. Like I said, nobody's getting monies over here to say this, but make sure you have life insurance. One of my best friends said it when she was on here during the month of Black History. What's that one everybody use to solicit funds? GoFundMe. A GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy, and I'm not making fun or light of anyone's situation. As people, we do need life insurance. It's necessary. Some point when you leave this earth, you need to leave something for your family. You need to make sure they can bury you without headache and heartache and without pulling from their finances. So make sure you get yourself some life insurance. Life insurance is not that expensive, depending on what in life insurance you go through and depending on how much coverage you have on yourself. However, make sure you get life insurance. But actually, back in the day, remember, old school ways, way back in the day, what they taught us was always have life insurance. Coming up, the older ones used to teach this. Always keep you some cash in the house. Always keep you some gold. And always have some life insurance. Now, I didn't say where at you was keeping the cash in the house. I'm just telling you, is what they used to say back in the day. And we need to use those words of wisdom in this day, because that was wisdom. We need to not throw the baby out with the bathwater and say every way of old was irrelevant, because that's not the truth. They had some wisdom and a lot of it with limited to no quote unquote formal education. Okay. But what they had was wisdom, mother wit, some wisdom, some understanding, and how to rightly apply what they understood. That's what we need in this day. Alan, you said I got pretty hair that I use berries. I don't use berries, but I do use a homemade conditioner, hair conditioner. So um, the conditioner is 100% natural and it's homemade. That's I do use homemade hair conditioner. Um, and I have to make some more up before I leave. But yeah, hair conditioner coming straight from products in the kitchen. Yeah, it is silky. Alan is giving a tip. Don't keep your cash in the safe. That's the first place robbers gonna look. Uh, don't keep your cash under the mattress either. That's played out. Um, keeping the cash in places where you know they're gonna look. Now, it's some places in the house that I'm not gonna say you can keep some cash and nobody would think to look there. It would really shock you. I'm just not gonna tell it on here. But some of these places where you know the first place they're gonna go through your drawers, uh, go up under your mattress. Go in your safe. Don't keep the cash there. Don't keep the cash there. Some other places, believe me, some other places they would never think to look that you can keep cash in your house. Oh, Sandra, don't play. You say patent and put it on the market. I would, but it's my sister's recipe. She's the licensed beautician, so she would have to patent that and put that on the market. I don't want to be accused of stealing her ideas. And what'd you say, Allie? You're done with GoFundMe? Oh, Vanessa, but for the people who abuse GoFundMe, if the FBI catches up with you, you're going to prison. That's prison time, not jail time, prison time. Yeah. If you get caught scamming in GoFundMe or any of these apps that people use to for donations and to collect money, like you say, oh, my child needs this, my child got a terrible disease, so I'm raising money to help my child, and you get caught, and eventually they catch up with you, even if it's years later, you go in prison. So if you out here scamming on anything that's tied to the internet or anything that's electronic, they gonna get you. They usually let your little self sit up 5 to 6 years, sometime even 10 years, and then 10 years later, you got the FBI on your doorstep. You forgot about it. They didn't. They just wanted to collect enough evidence, and all of a sudden, you're under arrest and you up in prison. That's the way that go. When people think they've got a way and nobody's watching them, and then all of a sudden the FBI come and run all of the facts and the statistics and the evidence on you, and you don't have a way. At that point, it is what it is. You said they need to be arrested. Oh yeah, Alan. You can get prison time for scheming like that. Yeah, yeah. And one of the old videos I showed a couple who was defrauding people on GoFundMe. And the judge told them not only you pay that money back, you get to go to prison now. Not only will you pay those people that money back, that man that money back, but you get in prison time. That's illegal. That's illegal. You have falsified information to collect funds. You falsify information. You're falsifying information to collect funds. That's not legal. I know that's right. Alan said he pay his tithes, but he don't do the scams. Nothing wrong with that, Alan. But back to what Vanessa was saying, and I remember mentioning this before. For people who have passports, it would be a host of fun if we did a cruise. It really would be. That would be fun. That would be fun. Um, and then I'm gonna jump back into serious topics. I like to say this. I mentioned it before. I taught for years in school. I taught little bitty baby. Well, not teaching the little bitty babies um, when they're months old, all the way up to 19 years of age. Okay. So, and being a former educator, one thing I was responsible for was setting up my own field trips. And one thing I always made sure of, and I ran into a parent the other day at a store, and she hugged me and said, Are you still teaching? And I was like, not anymore. She said, well, thank you for what you did to my daughter. For all you imparted in my child while you was teaching. Thank you. Because, one thing that I made sure that I always did at the end of the school year was the end of the school year field trip. We were not staying in the state of Michigan. We did the Mall of America. We did Florida repetitiously. I made sure my students at the end of the school year for a week before this is before school is out during that last month of school, we were going somewhere for the entire week. So I know, we're talking about, people in here talking about their Sandra Don't Play is going to Jamaica. That's on a cruise. Vanessa has been on cruise. Other people been on cruise. That means people, some of us have passports. And if those of us who don't have passports can get them. One of the things that I know is doable is trips. If you plan it out, you can do it. Um, I was considered a fundraising guru when I did teach. When it came to school fundraisers, I would start maybe 3 weeks after school started. I would begin fundraising. I would fundraise until the end of the school year um, for my end of the school year field trip because that was the one that would cost the money. It was the big one. And one of the things that as an educator, I wanted to make sure of is that kids who did not display the most favorable behavior, I still took them with me because I believe that at that young age, when you're that young, you still have to be taught and trained. You are still a child, and children, teenagers, and young adults still need training. I don't care what they think they know, or if they think they don't, they do. So, one of the things I would do is admonish their parents to let them go. I don't care how they, if it was a grade issue, well, then that was something different. You got to get your grades together. Like if you flunking, you can't afford to spend a week away and you have this work that you're behind on. But I was different in that regards too. I was one of those teachers every week. I was going to inform you of what your child grade was. So at the end of every week, you got a letter from me informing you where your child's standing was. So at the end of the school year or at the end of the marking period, it wouldn't be this big, oh, my child is failing. No, I wasn't one of those type of teachers. I wanted you to know what was going on every week at the end of the week. I needed you to understand where your child was, grade wise, work wise. I don't like that big surprise. Wait in, no, no, that was not my method at all. So I would take the students. We fundraise all school year. Um, I know it's doable. I would always put my tentative field trips by the third week of school. My parents had it in their hand. These are tentative field trips for the entire year. You plan it out, it's doable. So we would fundraise for. We flew. Some trips we drove to, but most of the time, Florida, we weren't driving to Florida. That was flying. Anytime we went to Florida, we flew. Okay. So we're talking about round trip airfare. You had to factor that in. Lodging, that was factored in. Transportation, when you get there, we would rent the huge buses and vans, a couple of them. That was factored in. Insurance for the vans when you get there, that was factored in as well too, because I'm not rolling without insurance. I'm not doing that. That's a liability. Um, so everything is doable. Like if some of you all are really serious about doing a cruise, we can behind the scenes in a private live get together and just plan some things out You all can say, me, I'm open to cruising anywhere. Um, except for if this is some place where they're just flat out doing some crazy stuff. I'm not open to that. But if you guys really want to sit and plan some things out behind the scene, we can do that. We can definitely do that. And the thing about me is, yeah, I did a bunch of end of the school year field trips, so I had to handle the monies. But I always had two other people with integrity on the bank account with me because I didn't want to be responsible for handling the monies. Really, I didn't. But it was my field trip, so I had to. But what I would do was, if a student parent came in at the beginning of the school year, and some student parents would pay for the field trips at the beginning of the school year, well, that money went into account and stayed there. Uh, Everybody was presented a receipt. Everybody, I kept a ledger, tracking, bookkeeping, record keeping, so everybody would know where they were. But when you break it down for, if you, this is what I want to say about the cruise. If you break it down, let's say the cruise is $1,000 per whatever because you want to be in the balcony or whatever, but you have a year to plan it out. So you take $1,000 and divide it by 12 months, divide it by 5 to 4 weeks in that month. And this is what I would break my parents down. What I would say, okay, you looking at the large amount. However, let me break it down to you and say this divided by 12 months, divided by 4 to 5 weeks in the month, you get paid here, here, and here. This is how you pay. If you pay this amount every month, by the time we're here, it's all paid off. And that's the way I would do it for the transportation too. If I know I need X amount of vans and X amount of insurance, I know I have to raise X amount of money for my students to go. And I always met my I always met my objective. Like I said, I was, when it come to in school fundraising, I I was doing it. I was doing it. I did it. Cookie dough, oranges, pizza, Taco Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday, which was pizza. I did it. Bake sales. I did it. So it's doable. Now we're grown adults, so I'm not suggesting or recommending any type of fundraiser. If you want to fundraise for your trip, if we decide to do this on your own, you can kindly do that. And I will probably sit up and support and buy your product from you if it's good. However, I'm not suggesting any type of fundraising over here. Okay. It's different when I was teaching, doing it for the students. That was different. But we want to come up with ways to, if we decide to go down that route, it's doable. Okay, Vanessa's breaking by down the passport. Okay, yeah, yes, Vanessa. If you do not have your passport, you can use your birth certificate and a social security card. However, if you are using a birth certificate, it has to be a birth certificate with the raised seal. It has to have an authentic raised seal on it, or else they will not let you through. That's a no-go area. But I would admonish everybody to get a passport anyway. Okay, your first time getting a passport, it's going to cost more, but a passport is good for up to 10 years. Get a passport. Okay, you can either budget and plan for your passport. I like to call it hideaway money. A passport costs about $180 if it's your first time doing it because you have to pay for processing fees and all that other stuff. Your first time getting a passport, this, and that. Then you pay the passport fee, and I call it the processing slash application fees. Hide away some money. Hide your money away. Put your money away. Hide it away. Hide it away from yourself, and just simply don't use it until you have acquired that $180 to pay for your passport. I will bring um, Roy McLeod back on again because that's what he do for people in real life. That's what he does. Is he does budget for those of you who were in that private life. That's what he does. Finance, budgeting, teaching people how to budget, get out of debt. Uh, he is not in debt. Everything he has, he owns. Um, he's good with investments. He's good with helping people sit down and budget, stay on task, stay on target, and he's good with helping people get out of debt. And he does handle a lot of people's money, and he's not a crook. So, oh, okay. Fly passport for kids who are under the age of 18 is not 180. It costs less. I'm trying to see how much, but my daughter's a teenager. And for a little bitty baby, I don't know that they would give like a baby a passport. You have to be a certain age before they actually issue you an official passport. For the little kids, birth certificate, social security card, they should be fine. For if you're like toddler age stuff like that, they I don't well, I don't know what country. Some countries probably do, but over here, I don't. Mm, what 10 years? No. He's only 5. Yeah, you might as well use his birth certificate and social security card. Yeah, you have to use the authentic birth certificate. Yeah, with the raised seal. Hmm. You have to use the real one. And if you need a real one, you can go down to courthouse and wherever your state is in and get one. Like I said, it has to have the raised seal on it if it's a birth certificate. Yeah, passport is a must. Here in the state of Michigan, and I had this conversation with my family, valid identification in order to fly. By 2020, everybody must have valid identification in order to fly in the state of Michigan. A valid form of identification. And a valid form of identification in the state of Michigan by the year 2020 will no longer be your driver's license in it of itself. Whereas before it was. In the state of Michigan, you have to have valid identification. And the valid identification is either an enhanced driver's license slash maybe they may accept that. Yeah, I think they will because you had to use your birth certificate and your social security card when you got that, or it has to have a star. And that's a little bit too much control to me and too much censorship for me. And I'm going to keep it honest since we're talking about the wicked of America. But by 2020, in this state, what's considered a valid form of identification, which means you submitted them your birth certificate to the Secretary of State and your social security card, it has a star on it. Driver's license with star is now a valid form of identification for you to fly here. Me, I just recently got my driver's license renewed. It does not have the star. However, I have my passport. So that's valid enough for me to fly in 2020 in the state of Michigan if I'm flying somewhere. Um, I made sure my daughter identification has, I made sure she has her ID and it has a star on it. That gets into too much censorship to me. Um, that's a little bit too, that's a little bit too much for me. That's too much. You're doing too much tracking now. you're trying to extract too much metadata, see who's traveling where from what state, what day they went on, and when they came back, even though it's a database, you put your name through there, has all of that, but that being tied directly to different states and being submitted to wherever they're going to submit it to the government and whoever, what other nation, that's too much for me. That's too much control. You're being too nosy. Yeah, Vanessa, but you know what I would recommend to her for a child that young? I wouldn't just use his birth certificate and social security card. They're gonna let the kid through. You adult, you should have your passport. But for a kid that young, use a official birth certificate and social security card. Mm-mm. The mother and the father has to sign for. Mm, mm-mm. Not necessarily, Sandra, because what if your parent is deceased and you get a passport? You just need your parents' information when you get the passport. You just need to know when your where your parents are from, when they were born, and what their social security numbers are if you're getting a passport. You just need to have all that information. And usually most of that information is in our state anyway. Your parents' social security number is gonna be on your birth certificate, your official birth certificate. And in our state, that's the way it is. It's on your birth certificate. Here, I don't know about anybody else's state. Yeah, where if they got their passport, but I would for a child that young, I just use a birth certificate and social security card. That's easier to me. But if a parent is dead, Sandra, then they're not there to sign. So it'll really just be one parent. Oh, and they lived in different states. Okay. I say you if your kid's going, use a birth certificate and social security card. It's easier. That's you already paid for that. Get them a passport when they get older because their face is going to change. And I'm sure that they're probably not going to want to have that baby picture on their passport. So just wait till they get a little older. Passport is good for up to 10 years. So being that young, birth certificate, social security card. Oh, your daughter just went through that. She lived in Texas. Mm. Oh, he had to sign? Okay, that's interesting. But what if he wouldn't have been available to sign? See, so I don't know who that agent was, but if the other parent's not available to sign and I have a valid birth certificate for my child and I have social security for my child and I'm a parent and I'm the one there getting the child, you're not going to tell me what a parent had to be here to sign and they're not present and they're somewhere else. I'm going to say, no, they don't have to be here to sign. I'm here to sign. That parent is not available. But that's me. Oh, yeah, Vanessa, that's what I'm thinking too. If the paperwork match up, which is the birth certificate, and Social Security match up to your child, then it shouldn't be a problem. Maybe that person was doing something extra. Oh, Sandra, they said it was the law. Well, maybe that's something that Texas does that nobody else is do. You know, because you have state law and you have city laws. So that could be the law there. It really could be. It could be the law there. So I mean, we have different state laws from state to state. We have different city laws from city to city. So that's a little bit stringent in my perspective. But that's to talk about if we do a fun, fantastic cruise. Okay. Like I said, everything can be done in advance, everything can be planned out. Um, if you want your money set aside and account and have three people on there who are trustworthy, who's tracking and watching monies and fundings to make sure everything gets paid for, that's doable too. But like I said, I taught, so that's the way that I did it. I always had two additional people on my bank account, and the bank account was specifically opened up for travel when I was collecting and fundraising monies to pay off trips because I had to pay airline tickets, round trip airline tickets, lodging, like I said, transportation. I'm not no Ubering type of person. I'm, mm-mm. Not trying to take anybody's money, but I'm a little bit old school in that regard, and I will stay that way. When I go on a vacation or trip, if I don't drive down, if I'm flying, most of the times, if unless it's a few hours away, sometimes I drive. Most times, like places like where I'm going, I'm not going to spend 3 days driving to California. No, I'm flying. Uh, I'm gonna rent a vehicle. I'm gonna rent a vehicle when I get there, and so things like that have to be factored in. That's just me. Some I don't. Um, I just want to have the comfort when I'm out of town to be able to go wherever I want to go when I want to go, and not have to wait for Uber driver. I know Uber and Lyft is a big thing. I just don't. I just won't be partaking in that. When I want to go, I want to go, and when I want to go shop, I want to go shop. I don't want to have to wait for somebody to get there. And if I need to get out of town because a storm or something is coming, I want to have a rental vehicle, be right in that vehicle and roll right on along and not be waiting for somebody to come pick me up. That's just me. Yeah, usually and usually when you don't have passports and you go on cruises, the thing about it is um if you're working with an agent or somebody, and usually you will, it's they have ways to rectify and deal with this too in terms of travel. Like I said, the main thing you want to make sure you do have, if you do not have a passport, is authentic birth certificate and social security, because customs will turn you right back around. You better have your birth certificate and your social security card, period. That's leaving the US and entering in. That you need. And usually trying to get back into the United States is more difficult than leaving. So always when you try to enter back in, that the issue comes into effect. So Sandra, for like I said, for people who don't have it, or maybe didn't, or maybe for people who don't have it, if we decide to do this and just don't want to spend that extra money towards that, or they would rather save it and put it towards a trip, as long as they have their birth certificate and social security card and an authentic birth certificate and a social security card, they'll be good. They'll be good. Oh, you fly every time, Sandra? I don't fly every time. Like if I'm going to Florida, sometimes I'll drive because driving is like it's therapeutic for me. Sometimes I go to Florida, I drive there and back, 18-hour drive from here to, depending on, it never really takes me 18 hours. I like to move on down the road. Sometimes I drive, sometimes I'll fly. Like if I'm going on a cruise, I'm flying. I don't have time to be trying to drive there and meet my deadlines. Like when I'm cruising from Florida and stuff like that, I'll fly because I want to make sure everything is right on time. But if I'm just chilling in Florida, I'm on drive. Like Atlanta, I'm on drive. That's 12 hours, 12 hours away if you're factoring traffic, but really 8 hours. I mean, I can do Atlanta in 8 hours like that for me driving. Like I said, I like to move on down the road. A lot of people like to stop off, do all the other stuff. Me, I'm gonna stop, gas up, and when I stop the gas up, I'm a little old school in that regards too. You better use the bathroom. We're gonna get something to eat, gassing up, getting right back in the vehicle, getting right back on the road because I like to keep my time. I like to keep my timing. I like to keep my timing, and I'm not gonna do a bunch of stopping. If I'm not stopping to get gas, it. When I stop to get gas, you better use the bathroom. Use the bathroom, get something to eat, get back in the vehicle, we back on the road. I like to keep my time now. So so driving is like therapy to me. So that's the way I drive when I'm driving. And people who drive with me are well aware of that. I'm gonna keep my time on the road. And if I get stuck in traffic, if we get stuck in traffic, I'm gonna make that time up. I'm gonna make that time up on the road, which means I'm gonna be moving. I'm not gonna be out there playing and nah. So, like I said, driving is therapeutic, but that's something we could do. That this is on a lighter note during the live. My live was scheduled to be serious tonight. The last live was serious. Every live have serious things in it, but I think that would be cool. Oh, you know what, Alan? Carissa, do you like when you oh you drive from Mexico to Alabama in a day? Get up out of here, Alan. Well, Alan, let me say this. In Alabama is where Letha is at. When I went through Alabama and I went through uh, certain parts of Arkansas and Alabama, it's just something about when I was driving down those back roads, seeing houses, peanut fields, and trees that reminded me of slavery. And I said to myself, no, no, and absolutely not. So certain parts I said I would never, ever go back to, period. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Nope. Oh, okay. So Sandra, you like to fly when you leave the country. I like to cruise. I like to cruise when I leave the country. More so cruising. There's nothing wrong with flying. So that would be something that's doable. Remember, I said I would have information on Sunday about traveling to Africa because we were talking about respect, okay? Respecting women. And I said, Some people need to touch, make their face touch the ground in Africa. So that you definitely gonna need a passport for. Put that on your list. Put Africa on your list. Although we say we can plan a cruise out and it doesn't have to be next year, it can be the year after next or whatever. I know tentatively I have scheduled for my child and I to go to Africa. Her parents are Nigerian. Her godparents are Nigerian, and they have property here in the US, but they're back in Lagos, Nigeria. So I told her when she got a certain age, she can go stay the summer with them. She is that age now where she's more conscious. So you said let's go to Bermuda, Vanessa. I never wanted to visit Bermuda. It was always, whenever I studied Bermuda, it was always a little bit, something a little bit too tragic happening over there to me in terms of death. Oh, what part of Africa, Sandra? Nigeria. Um, the one guy that does the trips every year to Nigeria, he's in, I mean, to Africa, he's in Nigeria this time. Now, it's another lady, where actually it's quite a few Americans that have relocated from the US over to Africa. The other lady who just recently, within the last few months, that has relocated from the US over into Africa is in Ghana. And her channel is Eat, Live, Migrate. And what she does is she uploads videos almost every day or throughout the week, showing you just the different parts of Ghana that she's in. And then she says she needs to decide, once she, where she's going to stay in Africa. She, right now she's just visiting the different parts in Ghana. And then, she was in Nigeria for a minute. And then she'll make her way, because it's Kenya, it's Ghana, it's Tanzania. It's just, it's Zimbabwe, it's so many parts to Africa. So for me, I know it's going to be Nigeria first, and then the other places. Sandra, you scared of the triangle? That's where they say people be dying at. Yes, Alan. My father always told me, us, because it wasn't just me, I have siblings, to travel. Make sure you have more than just a westernized perspective on the world. And the way that you get that perspective is to actually travel there and see for yourself. So, yes, traveling abroad will surely open up some eyes. But I'm not scared. Take these off. By any means, I'm Africa is really opening up. They're making it, especially in Ghana, making it easy for Americans to come over. So Africa is really opening up. Oprah has a house in Nigeria. Mm, yeah. I don't too much care for Oprah myself personally. And I can run at least 10 valid reasons right off the bat. Oh, you say you think American kids are bad. Meet Saudi Arabian children. It's the way they. It's all in the way. It's all in the culture and the way they raise up. And remember, Saudi Arabia was all that oil was. So over there, you're dealing with some kids who come from wealthy families, and when you go look at the Saudi Arabian homes, they have real gold, real gold, and golden Bentleys and BMW. I mean, I probably should move this on. I'm in the screen. Oh, Alan, you said the males are very entitled over there. I'm sure they are because in some countries the males are first, and that's their culture. They are raised to be first, and in some countries the women are raised to be subservient or second class, and the men are raised to be first class. Um, we're over here in America, it's supposed to be a level grade, a level playing ground feel where everybody is equal, male or female. Oh yeah, Alan. Oh yeah, yeah. When you go into other, when you go into other countries, it will behoove you to know something about their laws. And that brings me to this. Now I'm getting ready to go back into serious mode real quick. So one of my cousins brought up the topic of ASAP Rocky and how he's in prison. And huh, I said to my cousin, I said, the same ASAP Rocky that said he couldn't relate to Ferguson, he couldn't relate to Black Lives Matter because he lived in Beverly Hills. That same ASAP Rocky. I said, now his black behind is in jail or prison over there in another country. Can he relate now? Or can he still not relate? Because you live in Beverly Hills over in America didn't really mean too much over here. Definitely don't mean nothing when you get to another country. It's like, so what with that? I just want to know, can he relate now? I don't know what. I don't know what Saudi Arabians they'll be practicing. Alan, I don't. I don't know what they be practicing. I think some are Muslim, some are probably different, whatever, but I don't know. I just know that what's legal here in the US may not be legal somewhere else. The way you speak here in the US may not be legal somewhere else. Um, I know showing affection in public in Dubai is not legal. You'll get arrested for that there. My first cousin and I were supposed to years ago. We was like, oh well, let's do our first cousin Dubai trip. But when I set up and start reading what's acceptable in Dubai in terms of laws, the more I looked at it, and I had some cousins go last year and they loved it. The more I looked at it, the more I said no, no. I'm not so interested in going into Dubai now. Not was it just the laws. I had to venture off into the things that happen over there. Like you can have whatever God you want to have. Okay, cool, whatever. But when I started looking at the bestiality over there, you have a lot of people who lay with animals over there. We had some people, some men who just recently went to prison this year for laying with animals over here, dogs, sleeping with dogs. Okay, the bestiality over there, sleeping and laying with animals. I can't get with that. Um, and then it's the other part for some women who go down from Africa and other parts of the world. It's that whole uh what's supposed to be pleasurable, that whole urinating on women and boo-booing on them for some type of pleasure. That's big over in there too. I can't get with that. And after and I don't care how much money they paying. Um, after seeing several women say that, um, I said, no, no, no. Okay, Dubai is beautiful. Whatever. Africa is beautiful too. Okay, Africa is gorgeous too. Um, United States engineered laid the foundation because that is the desert, so they won't sink down in the tourist parts. Beautiful layout, beautiful, beautiful. Engineers did wonderful. It's still the desert. It's hot, and I'm not interested in half of that stuff they be doing over there. And I can't get with that being covered up in your GI and all that other stuff. And I just can't get with that. So I'm not interested in going over there and spending my money to support any of that. I'm just no longer interested in that. So whatever with that. Oh wow. Well, Alan, some women have cars there, so I don't know. I don't know about that. I've seen some women driving some cars over there. I just can't get with that. Some of that cray cray stuff, some things that I consider crazy that they be doing, even though we got some crazy and stupid stuff going on over here too. But usually we know over here if you urinating and boo booing on people and it gets reported, most of the time you're gonna spend some time in jail or prison over here. That's not going to go over if people find out about it well in the US. That's not gonna play well in the United States of America. Not at all. I mean, like I said, it's beautiful, but I look at Africa and I look at other parts of the world and it's just as gorgeous. So I took Dubai off my list. Took that off. Okay. Yeah. Now, talked about other things tonight. I lightened it up a little. So the next few lives, the next few days until August the 1st will be serious. But let me take it. This was good. This was good towards the end. I had a lot of videos and stuff lined up to show. I will do that the next time so you can see what I'm saying. And I'm sure I'll probably be back tomorrow once that investigation starts to stream some of that live in real time as it's happening. Um, so we can listen and maybe have discussion on that. I'm going to go back into the music since I missed out on Where My Ladies At Music Momentum Monday. But let me take these off so I can put my headphones on. Like I said, for people who are opening up for cruises, I'm all for cruise. I'm open to that. For the people that I talked to last week when I did that live, when we were live, um, and we talked about Africa. For those who are interested in Africa, I'm definitely gonna do that. Like I said, my tentative was to go next year, regardless of whoever else is interested. But there are people who do groups, and the one guy, the $2,000 was a really good price for round trip to Africa. So, and he recently did another live, and some people were saying you get at certain times of the year, which is understandable. You can do round trip to Africa cheaper than 2,000. So that's pretty good, and that was just the flight. But his trips that he do yearly includes the flight, the lodging, and things like that. Wow. Okay. It's midnight and there's people hmm, outside perusing around. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, ladies, because we missed Monday, I'm going to run this song back for you all. Somebody asked about it at the beginning of the chat. It's Jodeci. I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna run it back, and I'm gonna get on up out of here. Oh, good night, Sandra. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, it's always good to see. Right, Alan. Sickos over there. Sickos, sickos, sickos. Uh, I ain't with it, but we got some sickos over here doing some crazy stuff like that too. I'm just not with that. Mm-mm. Being said something and got arrested. I know I'll be and said something over there and got arrested. Yeah, I'll be and said something. I know. Yeah, I'll be and said something. So I don't think it would be advantageous for me to visit Dubai because I'm not going to just go over there and be silent if I see something happening or if I feel a certain way about something. So no, that wouldn't be good for me. It wouldn't be good for me to visit there any longer. I'm not going. That wouldn't be good. Because I'd be over there like and gave a look. They'd be like, she arrested. I'd be like, if you don't get your hands up on me. See, they have different laws. Like, mm-mm. No, 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 no. I said, no, no. Mm-mm. Nope, not trying to do that. And then some prince try to have you tied up somewhere, boo booing and urinating on you. No, I'll pass on that.
Cars, clothes, girls, and games. Through the years, a lot of things change. We shared a love like a melody. My sweetest moments are in your ear with me. Yeah. Gave me all love. Giving you trusting me. Oh, yeah. In my life. Every moment is so sweet. Every moment is sweet to me, baby. When you lay next to me. When you lay next to me. Our hearts beating as one. Our hearts beating as one. Nothing we can do. Every time I look at you, your smile lets me know you feel me too. Anything you wanna be, I can deal with because you're right here next to me, yeah. Giving you, oh, oh, oh. To the trusting in my life, every moment, so sweet. Every moment is so sweet to me. When you lay to me, when you lay to me, our hearts beating as one. Our beating as one. Nothing we can do. The moon, the stars, he can't compare to you and me. Yeah, you're my everything, and I can't explain, and I can't complain. You never had a rain, the wind, the rain, the sea. It's just you like you and me, baby. Oh no, you feel the breeze when you laying next to me, baby. Chills come instantly. Every moment is always to me, baby. When you lay to me, my heart feel like yours. Our heart as one. Nothing we can never come, no. Nothing we can do. And you know, every moment when I'm right here next to you, I feel so good. Nothing that we can overcome. Girl, you can get it anytime you want it. I'm right here waiting for you.
Okay, since Alan called me the DJ before we end tonight, that was Jodeci and Every Moment. All right, make sure you download that to your playlist, your music playlist. Jodeci, Every Moment. Midnight music that makes you want to make moves. Okay, let me stop. All right. With that being said, you all have a pleasant evening. You all have a pleasant night. I am going to attempt to stream as much as possible before August the 1st and get people on the panel that I believe would be beneficial and advantageous and give us good information. But with that being said, you all have a pleasant evening. Bye bye, everybody.